The adventures of Perastyr the Merchant and his companion Elona begin today on this episode of the Cheapskate Gamer.
I will make a jaunty little song to start the show.
Hello Internet, welcome to the Cheapskate Gamer. I am your story weaver, Steve Rogers. Yes, this is my real name. No, I have no relation whatsoever to anybody from Marvel properties, whatever. They're not very particularly popular anymore. Hey, it's been a couple years since I've done those last two videos, and we're finally getting ready to start our final adventure here. Just a couple of things we got to get over, take care of some administrative stuff before we begin. So if you did watch the 3 startup videos, of course, if you haven't watched the 3 startup videos, you're welcome to go back and watch those if you want to. In the first one, I go over the contents of my box, what all is in my travel kit here. In the second one, I go over the basic rules of the Microlite 20 tabletop RPG system. And in the third one, I go ahead and make my characters. If you did watch those, thank you for watching them. They do help the channel. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that some of the things have changed since I filmed those 3 videos. So, full disclosure on those. I filmed those 3 videos in late 2022. Like my notes say that the 20th of November 2022 is when I filmed those 3 videos. And, you know, at the time, they were rehearsal more than anything else. They let me see what was going to be going on with my technology, make sure everything worked. And, you know, there was a couple of things that I wasn't entirely satisfied with the beginning videos. Like I definitely need more lights and some equipment and that sort of thing. But, you know, I did spend most of December editing those videos and then was getting ready to start the series in January of 2023. Well, if you've followed the tabletop RPG scene these last couple of years, everybody knows what happened in January of 2023 with the old OGL scandal. And with Microlite 20 dependent upon the OGL, I was looking like I wasn't going to be able to use my system of choice there for a while. But even if that was true or not, it killed whatever momentum I might have had. So, you know, I didn't waste that time. I used 2023. Also, we learned about 2023, the very beginning of it. That's whenever generative AI really started to take off. So I started learning a little bit about how to use that. And it was through the efforts of some of the dungeon tubers like Ginny D, Bob World Builder, Professor Dungeon Master, the good ones. They're all good. That I started learning about other game systems. I started acquiring a few more of these systems. And I was like, oh, these have some interesting mechanics. I'd like to go ahead and incorporate those into what I want to do with Cheapskate. So I did all that in 2023. 2024, I decided to start codifying the rules, and so now here at the very beginning of 2025, I'm finally ready to give this another go. The system has changed. I'm not going to be quite using Microlite 20 in its basic form, but rather than do another setup video and explaining the changes, I figure we're just going to go ahead and get into the things because I've waited long enough to do this, and we're going to go ahead and get started doing some stuff. I will say twice during the setup videos, I kind of harshed on the Microlite 20's system's method of just making generic races. I owe a huge policy to Roberto Kingsley and to Chris Sakis, the guys who created Microlite 20, the Fifth Adamantine, for harshening on those, especially since in their final version of this new system I'm working on, which I'm going to call CHEAPSKATE RPG. I will provide a link to the document for the rules below. You are welcome to check it out at your own leisure. But twice I harshed on the races, and I eventually went with generic races. So, well, no, actually, let me be more specific. There's actually not races per se in the game, but you can emulate them. What other things have happened? There are no races, no classes. We have a different magic system. There's advantages, disadvantages. That stuff still now stacks. No sidekicks. You got bits and bobs. Some of the things I really enjoyed, specifically from 5 Torches Deep, that system in particular. I'm using some of the equipment rules in there. Cairn is a big one in there. And then I'm going to be using the combat system from the Nimble role-playing game, the first edition there. The changes, they did necessitate a few basic changes to the characters. But like I say, we'll get into that as we get into the game. So, okay. So, let's remind you, everybody, of what exactly is happening with the adventure. So our 2 adventurers are Perastyr the Merchant, who is a dwarven ranger of some kind. We have also got Elona, his companion, who is a gnome expert, and they're at the entrance of a dungeon. They're going to be going in. They're looking for a set of glowing armor, made by halflings, with a value of approximately 200 gold pieces. Now, 200 gold pieces being in the old system, there is a bit of a change there. But like I said, we'll get into it. All right. So, if you will, please join me, and we begin the adventure. All stories begin in a particular place and at a particular time. For us, dear viewer, the story begins on the island flat world of Akend, in the kingdom of Pupriasso. It is autumn in the 919th recorded year by the reckoning of the halfling peoples. Standing on a hilltop near the northeastern edge of the dreaded wastes are two figures approaching a long abandoned structure, looking down a dark stair leading into the earth. The taller of the two figures frowns and addresses his companion. "I don't like it," he says. "There can't be anything down here of value. Vanbury is only a day's travel to the south, and I can see the bloody road to Evelynberry from up here." His companion shrugs. "There may not be anything down there," she replies. "Or there could be enough people who come by this place and say, it's too close to the road. We won't know one way or the other unless we go in. And it's not like you have much of a choice, my penniless acquaintance." He scoffs at this. "Ah, you're right, of course, but I don't have to like it." The two figures carefully descend the staircase, unsure of what is about to befall them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started then. We're going to go ahead and cut on over here to my deck of mini dungeons. This is our starting card here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to mark Perastyr. He's going to be in white. And we're going to go ahead and mark Elona. Let's go ahead and make her yellow. We're going to do these two cards here real quick. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and begin getting started here real quick. Before I get too far along in, from DM yourselves, I need to go ahead and set my general time-consuming behaviors that I want to have Perastyr and Elona. I want them to do certain things. And this is kind of important because whenever I have them do one of these behaviors, it's going to eat up a little bit more of my clock. So the rules as written, every hour they're going to have to light a new torch. And that's going to cut into their supplies. So if I calculate that an hour has passed, I have to make sure and do that. And each one of these little behaviors is going to add another 5 minutes. Let's see. What am I going to want to have them do? Well, I think that we're just going to keep this pretty simple for the delve here real quick. I am going to have my guys, they're going to go ahead and they're going to search for traps before entering a room or a corridor. I'm going to have them listen at closed doors just to make sure everything's clear. And I'm going to have them search for treasure once a room has been cleared. So my characters both have their default weapons. I don't need to worry about that one necessarily. We have the torches. Those will be used for lighting whenever it's dark. Don't necessarily need to worry about that one. As far as the marching order is concerned, in single file, Perastyr will go first. Whenever they're walking abreast, Elona will be on the right. Perastyr will speak with the party in social encounters, and whenever we have social encounters, diplomacy is going to be his default approach. This is pretty straightforward. Not all of that is going to apply necessarily to this adventure, but it could come up. You never really know. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to swipe on over here to the card. And it looks like we have some sounds that are going on as we walk into the dungeon at this point. Let's see if I can get this on here. Okay, well, no, we don't actually have any sounds whenever we walk into the dungeon. It's going to be utterly quiet. So now I've got myself a T-junction here, and let's see. I can go either direction I want to. I'm going to either go left or right. Let's have them go down this corridor this way first. And let's get a new card going. Alright, a new card. There's the 5 of clubs. Okay. So it looks to me like they're going to have an encounter in this next chamber. So this could easily become combat right off the bat. Oh joy, combat right off the bat. Yeah, fun times. Okay, so we need to figure out what kind of monster we're going to be having. As you can see, our character is level 1. So I need to, by the card, I need to go ahead and roll a 6-sided die. So let's just go ahead and roll the 6-sided die and see what comes up. Well, that is most definitely a 5. Okay, so we have a 5. And now I'll go ahead and look at the card here. So according to the card, we have a 5 on the dice. Our characters are level 1, that adds up to a total of 6, so we either have 1 acolyte or 1 skeleton per PC. Now, with the rules of Cheapskate, the revised rules, I have my options. I can either go ahead and use a 5e stat block, or I could go ahead and just make something up on the fly. It's kind of nice to not have a set bestiary. At the same time, it's kind of, you know, you have the freedom to do as you will on that one. I'm going to go ahead and make this creature up real quick. It's not going to take terribly long at all. So I think a skeleton makes more sense in this particular case. I mean, I've established this story. It's supposed to be an abandoned structure. I mean, an acolyte would be a living person. So let's go ahead and do the skeleton instead. Now, as I said, the rules for making creatures in the Cheapskate system are very, very simple. I actually have them right here in my little revised guide. This is actually a pocket fold. I mentioned these during the setup videos, that there was a difference between a pocket fold and a pocket mod, and how I thought it might be a lot more useful to have pocket folds. And yeah, it's turned out to be quite a lot more useful. I've been able to condense a lot of my information down into fewer guides, so there's more stuff that can fit in my box at this point. The creation rules for creatures are only 4 pages long out of this little pocket fold. So you have this one, this page, and this page right here. And most of this is just details. You know, so like I said, we'll just go ahead and go into the process. I also have another guide here for the deck of mini dungeons specifically. This is a bestiary of everything that is in the deck of mini dungeons, everything that appears. And if I go over here and I go to the entry for skeletons, it will show me the entry it's right here, the conversion for the Cheapskate system. So a skeleton in Cheapskate is what they call a Dampier. Now, Dampier is simply the base template I could use for any undead creature in the game. We call it Dampier. Of course, if you know what a Dampier actually is, it's referring specifically to a vampire. And we can give the skeleton that kind of set of traits as a default. I'm going to not necessarily do that. It's also suggesting that I started with a monster level of 3. Now, the monster levels are going to determine 2 things, really. They're going to determine how much damage the monster will do, and they'll determine how many experience points it's going to be worth at the end of combat. My guys are characters. They're level 1. This is a monster level 3. I don't think I want to start it at 3. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a monster level 2. But that is the first step of the process, determine what monster level you're going to want for your creature. We'll set this at monster level 2, and that means that it's going to be doing 1d6 damage, and it's going to be 2 experience points. The second step is to determine whether or not the creature, the monster is going to be intelligent or not. By intelligent, what we really mean is it's smart enough to care about money. I don't think a skeleton's going to care too much about money, so we'll treat it as an unintelligent creature. And for those, we're going to make a flat 3d6 roll. We're going to assign the attribute scores in turn. I can swap out any 2 I want, and then we're going to get the derived statistics, and we can go from there. So let me cut on over here to the tray. We'll go ahead and get my dice out, and let's go ahead and roll. Score for Fortitude. 3, 1, 1. That's going to be a 5 for Fortitude. We'll go ahead and do Reflex next. 4, 5, and 2. That's going to come out to 11. 4, 5, and 2. Yes, that's 11. Okay, excellent. And then our final roll is for Willpower. 4, 1, and 1. That's a 6. Okay, so I got a 5 for Fortitude, I got an 11 for Reflex, I got a 6 for Willpower. Now, the next set of rules, they say that I can swap any 2 of those attributes that I want to. For these skeletons, this is really a crummy roll, but I think I'm going to go ahead and leave them as they are. And we're just going to play with it from there. They're not going to be very strong creatures, not going to be particularly smart creatures. If anything, I might want to swap around the Fortitude and Willpower scores. But no, I think I'll go ahead and leave it like that. Next thing I need to do is determine an attribute specialization. So which one of these attributes are they going to specialize in? So I'm going to go ahead and bump them up in Fortitude, simply so they get a little bit of extra oomph to them. Otherwise, this is going to be a really easy battle. Oh, by the way, I'm writing all this stuff down here in this particular guide. This is going to be my bestiary for the entire series. You know, I could play these creatures again at any point. Like I said, nice to have this thing, sort of thing. Okay, I receive 1/2 attribute to a skill. This would be the 4 skills that I talked about in the opening videos. Either physical, strategy, knowledge, or communication. Physical. It's going to have to be physical. Okay, and I'll write that down. And then the weapons are considered natural weapons. Well, that's not necessarily true for a skeleton, but that's fine. It's a 1d6 attack. And it's going to be resilience 1. Should not have any armor installed on this. And then we'll gain... yeah, okay, so this is not going to gain any additional... anything for level. Now we're going to go ahead and apply the Dampier template to it. So if we go ahead and apply that according to the rules, the baddie will receive 2 extra HP MP per monster level. We can go with that one. Baddie has 1 level of advantage on their final attack on their first attack of the round. We can have that one as well. And then there's this bit here where when they hit a hostile target, they gain HP equal to the amount of damage inflicted on the target. A target must make a fortitude save, or that's a permanent loss. I think that one is going to be... that's a little bit too vampiric. Now, what I'm going to do is a variation on it. As I do damage to the characters, if they get knocked out, I will have a roll, do a d20 roll. And if the roll is less than the total amount of damage they've done to my characters, they'll pop back up. So these things, if you've ever played the Super Mario series, like Super Mario 3 or later, you have the dry bones. Let's think about that. These are skeleton type creatures. They can get knocked down, but they could have a possibility of getting back up again. So I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to go ahead and figure out all of the statistics for the creatures based on what I've just done. We're basically done already. And then we'll get on with the fight, or we'll get on with the adventure. So as you know, I'm only going to do this one time for you guys. I'm not going to stop and build a creature and show it to you every time that I have to do this throughout the whole series, okay? So Perastyr and Elona are in the dungeon. They've made it a right turn. They've just got into the dungeon. It's dank, it's dark, it's utterly quiet. They've come up to a closed door, so the very first thing we're going to do now is see whether or not they hear anything from this room, because we know that there's something in there. They don't necessarily know that there, and there is something for them to find. So let's figure out what exactly is going to happen here. So I need to go ahead and have these guys make a check. They're at the door. We need to see if they can actually hear something. We're going to make this a communication plus willpower check for my 2 characters. Now I've got their stats out here. This is another one of my guides. This is my character guide. Same sort of template as the bestiary, but it's completely different. Okay, so willpower for Perastyr, he's got +0. Communications is +0, so he's not getting any help there. Level 1, so they get a +1 to that. Elona, her bonus for willpower is +2. She also does not have any communication attributes, so she's going to get a +3 to the roll. So Perastyr +1, Elona +3. Now let's go ahead and see, by the rules of Cheapskate, what the DC of the check is going to be. For that, we roll 46. And that is unfortunately high roll. That is a 19, if I'm counting that up correctly. So 19 in order to pass the check. So Perastyr with +1, he has to roll an 18 or better on the d20, and Elona would have to roll a 16 or better on the d20. Let's go ahead and get it roll and see what happens. Okay, so I got Perastyr on the bluer die. I've got Elona on the lighter of the dice. That is a failure on both of their counts. Okay, so we have a failure. A failure is skill, and I rolled them just regular anyway. I said it was utterly quiet. I really should have rolled both of those at disadvantage. But, you know, it doesn't matter in this particular case because both of them failed to check anyway with the rolls. Yes, they couldn't have rolled any better than that. So what happens when you fail a check in Cheapskate? We make a failure check. There is a roll of d20 and d6, and we're going to see just what kind of mayhem is going to happen as a result of this. Okay, so we have a 20 and a 4. A 20 and a 4. I'm going to look through here the rules here for failures. Okay, that's the backside. 20 would be a knowledge complication, so I could have them succeed anyway, but they get bad information or they miss out on some key information. With 4, they advance the threat, and it's generally a lot more fun if you combine those 2 failure options. So here's some fun thing that we could do real quick. We could ask the Oracle what kind of, how exactly are we advancing a threat, or describe the nature of the threat that's being advanced. So I'm going to do that with a detail focus and then a topic focus from the cards. Detail focus. The 5 of clubs, that would be new, and then the topic, 10 of spades, new plot arc. Okay, so now I have to create a new plot arc. Okay, though that might be interesting. Well, I do have something in mind for this. I mean, I was going to save it to the end of the delve, but this is as good of a time as any, right? It is at the exact moment that our heroes open the door to the adjacent chamber, erroneously thinking that all is well, that a week's walk away, in the neighboring realm of Cutharia, in the sleepy little town of Wolford on Hinkasung Hill, near the border with the Fiadelar, a nefarious person has just set the town library ablaze. My adventurers have no way of knowing this, and like you, dear viewer, they couldn't care even if they did know. But what has just happened is the next step in a wider, still subtle conflict, in which my adventurers will ultimately find themselves embroiled, one that could have dire consequences for all the inhabitants of Akend, as an ancient evil attempts to rise once more. I only mention all of this because the Oracle told me to do so now. But as for right here and now, Perastyr and Elona open the door, which creaks loudly. They push the torchlight in, and enter another darkened room with cold cobblestone walls, not noticing the presence of the 2 skeletal abominations, until one of them creaks at the other. "Oh no! Our brothers are trapped inside those horrific moving meat cages!" The other raises a rusted scimitar, shouting, "Don't worry, brothers! We will get you out of there!" Our 2 adventurers barely have time to give each other surprised glances before their enemies are upon them. And action! Okay, so we're in combat now. Elona actually has the highest of the reflex scores of all the combatants that are on the table right now. She will get to go first. I'll go ahead and pull my tray on over here beside us so we can see what's kind of going on here. We got our combatants. We have they're at range with one another. Let's go ahead and give Elona a reflex check to see where exactly how many action points she has this particular round. Okay, she's rolled a 5. She gets a +1 bonus to that because that's her bonus, so she only gets to take 1 action right now. I think it's going to have to be she has to draw her weapon because they were not coming into this room expecting to fight. I don't know why they were like that, but we're going to say that they are. They weren't prepared. So she draws her weapon. That is her move on this particular round. Okay, so next we're going to go over to Perastyr. He has the next highest reflex score, and he rolled a 17 on his check for actions in the first round. He gets a +1 to his bonus as well, so that's going to be 18. He gets 2 action points for this round. I think he was also not prepared for combat. The skeletons were prepared for combat. They're not. I think for this round he is going to draw his hammer, has his war hammer. That's going to be his primary weapon. He's going to draw that, and then he's going to take his second action and evade. This way, if he does get engaged by one of the skeletons, which is likely to happen, then he's going to be in a position where he'll put disadvantage on them for that first attack. Okay, so now we're up to our 2 skeletal combatants here. Those we have one guy in black. We have got one guy in the other one. We're also rolling for the first round. Their bonus to dexterity is going to be +0. Okay, so one of them got a 10. That's going to be 2 actions, and one of them got an 8. He's going to take 1 action. So let's go ahead and I'm going to have this guy on the left here. He's going to go ahead and engage one of our 2 combatants. These guys have their weapons drawn already. Which one is it going to be? Even or odds? Let's do even or odds, and let's say, odds it's going to be Perastyr. Okay, so they're going to engage Elona. So she gets pulled into range 1 with our main combatant here. This is not a good situation for Elona. She only has a ranged weapon, but and she's not evading either. So this could get bad real fast. Okay, so the skeletons, they will attack at 1d6. This guy is going to go ahead and roll d6 damage against Elona. 6. That's a critical hit. So on a critical hit, ordinarily a hit would take the damage away, so take some of the brunt of the blow away from you. In a critical hit, that does not happen, and it does not matter how hard it is to actually hit you. the attacker gets to apply their attack bonus to you. Ordinarily, this wouldn't happen because Elona has got a high enough HD score, but it's going to get overridden by the critical hit. The other effect of that is that her armor's resilience is permanently reduced by 1 point. Now, she only had armor level 1, resilience 1, so now it's armor level 1, resilience 0, and that is permanent damage. She takes 7 points of damage on this one. She only has 14 HP with 1 blow in the first round. Elona is down to 50% hit. She is bloody. So, we go to the other skeleton. I think the other skeleton, let's see what he's going to do here. Which one of our heroes is he going to go after? I think he's going to go ahead and engage, just like his comrade. We'll do it odds and evens again. Oh, even again. And even again, oh my lord. Okay, so Elona is getting ganged up on with these particular skeletal creatures. They're just kind of, they saw the small target and went for it. Okay, well, at least we get over to her next move, which is going to be, I think, we'll start the second round of combat. Everybody from here on out, everybody has 3 action points every round. I think what she is going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go have her do a check to disengage. To disengage, it is a physical plus reflex check. It's going to be versus the dexterity scores of the skeletons. They don't have great dexterity, and even though it is their best stat, 11, she gets plus 2 to the roll, and she's going to go ahead and disengage. Okay, so Elona successfully disengages from the 2 skeletons. She'll move out here. That was her first move. She had prepared her weapon. It was drawn finally. It's a ranged weapon, so she has to load it. That's her second action. And the third action, she's going to actually shoot at somebody, because this is going to go really badly if she doesn't take a shot at somebody soon here. I think once again we're going to have her go over here. These guys are now no longer engaged in combat. We're going to have her aim at this guy over here with D8. That's a 7 points of damage to the one skeleton over there on the left-hand side. I'll go ahead and mark him a different color, just so that we know who is who at this point. The skeletons, the damned ones, they have a total of 12 hit points, so that guy is now down to 5 hit points. Okay, so he's at 5 hit points. That was her last action. It is now Perastyr's turn to make some actions. We'll come over here. I think what he's going to go ahead and do, he sees that this guy is hurt at this point, so we're going to go ahead and have him engage as his first action, and as his second action, we're going to go ahead and have him attack. Now, Perastyr also attacks with a D8. That's his weapon, and of course it's ranged, so there's not going to be any problems there. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll dice. Okay, he rolled a 3, so that's going to be 3 damage to our skeleton in orange. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark him. That guy is now down to 2 hit points. And then Perastyr actually has one more action. I think we're going to go ahead and attack. You are allowed to attack more than once on your turn if you have the action points for it. It's just that each time that you attack, you take an additional level of disadvantage. This guy's not going to do too much to finish him off at this point. So what we're going to head to do is we're going to roll 2d8, and I think he'll have to take the lower result of this. Let's see, we have, what is that, a 7? 7 and 2. 2 is hit points. That's all the more we need in order to finish this guy off. He's at 0 hit points. So this guy is taken out. I don't want to engage with him anymore. Okay, so that's one skeleton down. We have one guy to go, and it's his turn at this point. So I think what we're going to have him do, morale check doesn't make any sense in this particular case because their skeletons are not going to be caring about too much about how much they, they're just here to try to guard the place. I'm going to go ahead and have him engage one of our characters again. Hopefully it's not Elona. It's Elona. Of course it's Elona. Pick on the girl, be that way. So we're going to head and have move him into range. That's his first action. Second action for this particular skeleton, we're going to go ahead and have him make an attack roll. So let me get over here. This is going to be D6. Let's see, and he rolled a 3, so Elona will take 3 points of damage. Now she is going to go ahead and respond by taking the block. She's taking the dodge action. That's going to let her take her reflex bonus and reduce the amount of incoming damage by the amount of her bonus, which is only +1. So she's going to take 2 hit points worth of damage on this particular roll. Elona is down to 5 hit points. The third action for the skeleton. Attack. I'm going to go ahead and have him attack again. This will be at disadvantage. So it's going to be the lower of the two results. Oh! He rolled a 1. Okay, that means that he misses completely. And there is the potential now for a critical miss. I have to make one more roll of d6. It's a 3. So, in this particular case, nothing happens. If it had been another 1 that had come up on that dice, the skeleton would have made a critical miss, and he would have taken damage to his blade, which is not really in that greatest shape anyway. Okay, so we're back to the top of the order, and Elona is up again. Now she took a reaction during that second round, so now she only can do 2 actions. Once again, I think she's going to disengage, and then she's going to go ahead and try to reload her weapon up. So we need to go ahead and do a disengage check. Once again, this will be at +2, and we're trying to beat an 11. That is a fail. Okay, so she failed to disengage. You know, she's trying to get away from the skeleton, but it doesn't happen. She doesn't get away. She can't get. He's maneuvering around too much. He's a very agile skeleton, obviously, because he's doing this stuff. Okay, no, so that didn't happen. So instead of reloading her weapon, as I was going to have her do, we're going to make another attempt to disengage. You can try to disengage more than once. Once again, +2, we're looking for a 9 or higher. That's a 10. Okay, so she does finally get away from the skeleton with her very last action on that particular turn. So it's now Perastyr's turn. We're up to the 3rd round of combat. Of course, he's going to take his first action and just go to town on this skeleton because he's beating up his ally over there. Move in, that's his first action. Attack. Okay, he's going to hit it for 5 points of damage. So Perastyr actually gets a +4 bonus to his attack rolls, and this is the damn bones are a creature that has a light enough armor that actually applies. So low enough hit difficulty that bonus applies. So instead of just doing 5 points of damage, he has done 9 points of damage to that other skeleton over there. That is a really significant blow, and that armored guy is down to 3 hit points at this point. Definitely bloodied. It's a skeleton. What the hell? I mean, anyway, third action. We're going to attack again, and it's going to be at 1 level of disadvantage. But once again, we get +4 to this roll. Why didn't we do this the first time? Oh! No way. No, that's an 8 and a 3. Got excited there for a second because he had rolled maximum on one of the dice, but it's the lower dice that counts because we're rolling at disadvantage. Still get 7 hit points worth of damage in. That's enough to take that second guy out. Our heroes are victorious. Okay, so as a result of the combat, these were not intelligent creatures. They won't have anything that can be worth looting. They're worth ML2, and there were 2 of them. So each one we get the 2 experience points from, +1 because there's a doubling of foes. This encounter was worth 5 experience points for my adventurers. Okay, and now we move on happily with the adventure. You know, it occurs to me that that very first skeleton that Perastyr took out, we've also should have been applying the attack bonus to him as well. The end result is the same. We still got rid of that skeleton pretty handily. So, oh, wait a minute. These guys had an ability that they would be able to make a roll if they did damage to my characters, which they did. Okay, so the first skeleton, the one that scored the critical hit on Elona, did a total of 7 points of damage to her. And then the other one, actually forgot at the time that Elona does have 1 level of armor. It does apply. So instead of doing 3 points of damage, instead of doing 2 points of damage to her, I should have applied the armor as well, and that hit should have only been worth 1 hit point. So we have the first skeleton did 7 hit points worth of damage. The second one did 1 hit point worth of damage. So I got to roll d20s for both of them real quick, just to make sure. Okay, that guy's dead. Just to see if either one of them pops back up again, because that's one of the features that we gave to this particular set of creatures. Okay, the one that did the more damage will be on the bluer die. And 13 and 2. 13 and 2. Okay, then either one of those skeletons are going to pop back up, so we have genuinely finished the fight, and we can move on with the adventure at this point. So Perastyr, looks over at Elona, sees the damage that she's taken. She's got a couple of nasty looking cuts that some have gone through her leather armor. And he asks her flat out, "Are you all right, lass?" And she's responds, "I'll manage. We just got to get the bandage up. Do you still think there's nothing down here?" "Oh, hush, lass," he replies. So I'm looking at the card there, and I'm seeing that there is actually a chest in the... actually, there looks like there's some M4. My people are checking to see if the rooms are of treasure. That's one of their default behaviors after they've searched their room. They're looking for treasure at this point. They're going to find something. Let's see how much exactly they find. 3, 3, and 4. That's going to add up to a 10. So they find 10 pieces of gold. Unfortunately, it's gold. Gold is not the currency of this particular game. So, hey, gold's gold, right? After they take a minute or two to bandage up Elona's wounds with whatever supplies they have on them. My two characters, they go around looking through the rooms. They see there's a dais on one side of the room, just a little bit towards the north there of where the skeletons were, and they see some like candles and M4 in the corners. It is as they're looking through those those M4s that Elona just happens to see a hint of yellow down at the bottom of one of them. She looks at it, reaches in with it, uncautiously. This is not exactly the smartest move in a particular place like this, and pulls out a handful of money, and she hands it over to Perastyr and says, "Hey, look what I found." He takes a moment and looks at it and goes, "That's Trapezian, lass. Worthless." She's like, "Seriously?" "Well, it's not entirely worthless. It's gold. Gold is gold, but what are we supposed to do with it? We can't spend it. It's Trapezian money. We might be able to take it to the King's Mint over in Mordbury, but that's about all we can do with it. You might as well hang on to it. I mean, it could be value to somebody." Alright, so that's all the more time we've found can spend in this particular room. We've gone through 2 cards. That's going to be about 40 minutes total, so we'll go ahead and have my guys... There's nothing else further this direction, so let's go ahead and have them start exploring the other direction. I'm plenty sure that there is much, much more to this dungeon to be seen at this point. But at this point, let's go ahead and get another card on the table, and we'll see where we wind up next. Okay, so we've entered on to our 3rd card here. And this will be the hour at which we have to go ahead and light a new torch. Enough time has passed at this point between everything that the characters have been doing. They've been searching around. They've been fighting. Elona's still hurt. And we see that we have our new card. It is the 2 of Spades. D6 plus the character's level of +1. That first result is going to be... It cannot be any higher than a 7. So even though a monster is marked in this particular card, nothing is going to be there. So they'll just continue around to walk through this corridor. So as they continue to explore this dank, dark dungeon, they walk into a new area. They get about 10 feet. The corridor narrows up ahead as they continue to make their way through it. Perastyr takes the lead, kind of cautiously moving around, looking for traps. He thinks he hears something as he nears the corner, but it turns out to just be noise as far as we can tell. So let's get up a new card. Okay, so our new card is the Queen of Spades, and I'm looking at the card here. It looks like we are going to have another encounter on this particular card. It's also a pretty complex card, and I'm getting kind of long in the tooth for this particular video, so I think we're going to go ahead and end it here for right now. Next time we continue the delve. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, I hope that you would subscribe to the channel at least. I'm not looking to make any money on it. I'm looking for subscribers. I have trying to get 100,000 subscribers, trying to get that silver play button for my sake of my kids. Probably not going to make it doing this thing, but I might as well try it, right? If you do want to support solo gaming in general, if you want to do it financially, why don't you check out Trevor DeVal's channel over on MeMyselfAndI.com. The Broken Empires, the Kickstarter was successful. It's going to be coming out here in a few months, and we're really looking forward to seeing what that looks like at the end. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and hope that you will join me next time on the next Cheapskate Gamer.